nobody in the furniture business had no chance of succeeding. But we had a great big unfair advantage, and that advantage was called desire. And you know, I think the great thing about the free enterprise system is you can go where you want to go, do what you want to do, be what you want to be. The only thing limiting any of us is our own desire. So the first thing we had to do was innovate. Innovate or evaporate. I was given a great book yesterday called Permission Innovation. Permission Innovation. Permission innovation means when you have a new innovation in this country nowadays, especially with a drug, you got to go through a 15-year process to get it through the FDA. You got to say, "Mother, may I?" You got to say, "Mother, may I?" What would happen if Steve Jobs had to wait 15 years to get that iPhone regulated by the government? You know, what we have to do is innovate for our customers, find out what's important to them, and do it first and ask permission frigging later. You know, that's what we need to do. We need to do it first and ask permission later. So no permission innovation around here. We're just going to take care of those customers. And the Super Bowl thing I did a couple years ago, if the team from Seattle wins the big game, you get your money back. We did that promotion. And, you know, we thought we'd sell like $3 million worth of furniture on it. And Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock, we had to close the store because all the furniture was gone. It was like crazy. I'm serious. And I got on top of that. The most deliveries we'd ever done in one day before was 200. And that Super Bowl Sunday, we had 500 scheduled. And you talk about oversaturated. So I got on top of the desk and I said, we can't do it anymore. And people kept lining up. And we closed the gates to the damn store, and they climbed the gates to come in and buy it. And so, you know, I knew the liability was in excess of $7 million. And we closed the store that Sunday because we really didn't have any furniture. And all the delivery guys and salesmen, everybody was making deliveries, and I was back there and I hadn't had a chance to work out. I like to work out. That's how I deal with my stress, as we all have to. And so I hadn't worked out for 2 weeks. We were busy with that promotion. So I was back there on the exercise walk or whatever it was, step machine. And I got on there when the game started. And I knew when none of those warehouse guys came back there to tell me the score, I knew we were in deep trouble. And then the phone rings at 3 or 4 hours later. It was my wife. And I said, "Who won?" She said, "Seattle won, dummy, 40-8. And I said, "Shit." So, you know, at that point, you got to prepare for setbacks, and you had to innovate. So then the phone started ringing, and the football game was so horrible that nobody paid attention to it. I mean, we were kind of doomed on the first snap, and they snapped the ball over Peyton Manning's head, and it went downhill from there. So all these news stations started calling me wanting to do an interview about why I did it, and I said I did, and I didn't back it up, didn't bet the other side in Las Vegas or any of that, and that just snowballed on itself. We ended up getting $45 million in free publicity, and so we turned that negative into a positive. So there's always a bright side at the end of the tunnel. I was asked to talk about what high-end customers want. Here's what they want.
That was easy.
It's just that simple, isn't it? That's what they want.
That was easy.
And so I'll tell you a deep story. There's a group called Americans for Prosperity, and it's headed up by the Koch brothers. The Koch brothers live in Wichita, Kansas, and they took over their father's oil company 30 or 40 years ago. The oil company was worth about $20 million, and that currently the Koch brothers are worth $40 billion each. So it tells me they know something about free enterprise, they know something about building value. So they have a big conference talking about how to teach free enterprise to Americans. They're libertarians. They don't care what you do in the bedroom. They don't care this or that. They want to see free enterprise espoused in this country and less government regulation. So they had a 3-day conference Saturday, Sunday, Monday in Palm Springs. So they invited me to come out there, and my son-in-law is very politically active, so I said, you go with me. I didn't go for the politics. I went to learn how they do this market-based management. They do market-based management that has enabled them to grow those two businesses from 20 million to 100 billion or whatever it is. An amazing growth story. So I went out there for several days, and the people there, almost everybody there but me was a billionaire. It was amazing, the wealth of those people. And that was a high-end, I've been around a lot of high-end customers. I've never been around people like that. And the nicest people. So I was trying to learn to talk in this speech today what they did right. So we pulled up in the cab to the hotel, and the Koch brothers are pretty controversial because they're very much in favor of free enterprise, they're very much in favor of free markets, they're very much in favor of expanding the American dream to everybody. And they had like 30 security guards, so you had to go through all these checks. They were very fast, boom, 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 got in the hotel. They already knew who I was when I got there, gave you a room key, done. And they rented out this giant resort, even though they only probably had half the rooms full. And they had people everywhere that knew who you were. It was easy, it was flawless, there was nothing you could ask for. They did everything for you. So the number one thing high-end customers want, I think they want to be recognized. They want us to know who they are. It's easy, just Google them. Find out who they are and what they like. And find out how to make it an easy, pleasant experience for them. Some of the thoughts I got from that conference. No wasted motion. Knew exactly where I was supposed to be all during the 3 days. No wasted motion. I walked into one seminar I wasn't supposed to be in. This one I picked another one. They said, sorry, you're in the wrong place. Let me take you to the right one. No wasted motion. Just an incredible experience. Number 2, convenience. Number 3, organize. Number 4, know who I am. Make me feel important. That's what all these customers want, don't they? They want us to make them feel important. That's what Mary Kay Ash said when she built that little company called Mary Kay Company in Dallas. Her thing to all of her sales lady was, imagine every customer had a tattoo on their forehead that said MMFI, make me feel important. Because buying that home is probably the most important purchase the customer ever made. So we have to make them feel important. So I thought about those Koch brothers and everything they did to make it right. It was just an outstanding experience. And I didn't go there to learn about the politics. I already have my own views. I went there to learn about how they do this market-based management. And it went on, and it only got better and better about how to take care of those customers and how to at Koch, they have a rule. Everybody there, from the newest employee to the senior guy, you can go up and challenge him in their thinking. I've done top-down management all my life, do it my way, hit the highway. At Koch, everybody there can challenge them on what they do. So they're always thinking. And the thing that hit me the most is that these 2 Koch brothers, both of whom are MIT graduates and engineers, they said they're never satisfied with the status quo. The guy's 80 years old. He's 80 years old. He's always trying to find a better way to be relevant to his customers. Always trying to find a better way to make those customers happy. And so on it goes. And how about this one? The speed of the leader is the speed of the team. Great quote. What is your comparative advantage? That's another thing they pounded in my head. What is your comparative advantage versus that other realtor that's at another firm? What is your comparative advantage? What can you do for the customers that your competitors can't do, won't do, or are unwilling to do? And so every day it's about find a job you love to do and you'll never have to work a day in your life. Find a job you love to do and you'll never have to work a day in your life. If you like selling homes, go for it. If it energizes you to get up in the morning and go to work, go for it. If you dread it, then all of us need to find something we like, because that's another thing those Koch brothers are huge on. They only have one guy from MIT in the whole company. They have 100,000 employees. The rest of them are from University of Kansas, from Wichita State University, or University of Houston. And I talked to the guy's son yesterday. He went to Texas A&M. They want ordinary people with extraordinary passion for what they're doing. And those customers know when you have a passion for what you're doing, and you're going to bend over backwards to help them. So that's what I learned from them was allow people to innovate, reward them for helping improve other people's lives. That is our job, whether we're selling homes, we're selling furniture, whatever we're selling. How do we improve that customer's life? How do we make it, how do we do something for the customer that's personal, significant, and unexpected? How do we do something for our customers that are personal, significant, and unexpected? There's a great new retailer that's in Dallas, or not in Houston yet. It's called Perch, P-I-R-C-H. They sell high-end kitchens and high-end bathrooms. And it's all about an experiential thing. So they have a chef in there, and you can go in the store and the chef will show you how to cook whatever your favorite meal is. Or you can make a reservation an hour before they open, an hour before they close, and you can go in. It sounds kind of weird. You can take a shower in their fancy shower. And they're selling $50,000 to $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 kitchens and bathrooms every day. And the goal of Perch, listen to this, is to make the customer's experience, whether they buy or not, to make the customer experience with Perch, whether they buy or not, the best experience of their day. That's a tough bar to live up to, isn't it? To make the customer's experience, whether they buy or not, the best experience of their day. Allow people to innovate. Understand that the more we do for those customers, that's what they expect. And like it or not, I tell those guys that work with me every day, the customer, the modern day customer is quite often entitled to everything and they're not grateful for much of anything. That's the world we live in. We've got to deal with it. The sun rises and sets on them. And if we understand that, we'll be that much better off, right? So I asked those salesmen today, what do customers value? Number one, they value something most of us salespeople, especially me, are not very good at. They value people that listen. We have a professor named Graham Bodie. He consults with us twice a month. He teaches active listening skills. He teaches active listening skills. He says to salespeople, we need to listen 80% of the time and talk 20% of the time. I'm the other way. Probably a lot of us in for a long. And it's amazing. You know, buying a new home, whether we want to admit it or not, is stressful for these customers. Buying new furniture is stressful. There's a life event that's triggered them buying furniture. Perhaps they're moving mom in a nursing home. That's stressful for everybody. We had a woman in there yesterday that came in and she wouldn't tell the salesman why she was buying furniture, but more than likely she had a death or a divorce. But he wasn't good enough to say, look, I'm on your side. There's something that's hurting you. Tell me about it. If it's shareable, it's bearable. If we listen to those customers, then we make such a bond with those customers. An active listening skill is something we can all get better at. You know, it's amazing. All sorts of research. I'm big in medicine with this mobile stroke unit. A doctor who has great people skills, who's a great listener, can make a mistake in an operation and they won't sue him for malpractice. A doctor who has great people skills can make a mistake in the operation, they won't sue him for malpractice. A doctor who has poor people skills can do the operation right, they'll still sue him for malpractice. True. True. What do customers want? They want you to be obsessed with making them happy. This mobile stroke unit, I've had a lot of them. You remember Gary Kubiak had a stroke at the football field? That was a mini stroke. He was in the absolute right place to get taken care of. 2 minutes of medical center. I had a lot of these mini strokes where my face would feel numb. It's called fast face, arm, speech. You've got to get to the hospital fast. So I had several of these these mini strokes, and I knew at my age that was not good. So I kept going to these doctors down at the medical center. They couldn't figure out what's wrong with me. They finally took this guy named Jim Grata, who was head of neurology at University of Texas Health Science. And he figured I was wrong, and he put me on all these medications, and the mini strokes went away. Then he called me, he said he had this mobile stroke unit he wanted me to put the money in to bring it to Houston. I said, what's a mobile stroke unit? He said, there's only one of them in the world, it's in Germany, and here's how it works. The average person who has a stroke, between the time they have the stroke, which is generally 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and their spouse figures out something's wrong here, and the time they get to the hospital is 2.5 hours, and during that time, 1 million brain cells a minute are dying. That's why they end up, one side of the body paralyzed, which is almost worse than being dead. So it's 2.5 hours. He said, there's a place in Germany that has a ambulance with a CAT scan machine on it, and when the person has a stroke, they call 911, or the loved one does. The ambulance goes to their house with a physician on board. They go in and get the person, put them in a gurney, take them out, put them in the ambulance, do the CAT scan on them, and if it's the right type of stroke, which is 80% of the time, they inject them with the drugs, stroke's over. He said, I want to do one of those in Houston for X amount of money. I said, okay, I'll do it, because I felt like I owed my life to this guy. So he told me there's going to be a physician on it, this and that. And so they finally got the ambulance built. And I asked him who was going to be the physician. He said, me. He gave up his job as the head of neurology at the University of Texas, and now he rides on a stroke ambulance 60 hours a week. He's already saved about 50 patients' lives. That's what those high-end customers want. They want a passion. They want to know that you're passionate about helping them. They want to know that you listen, you understand how stressed they are. You understand what a big investment it is to them, that they are special. And I'll say one thing about those Koch brothers. I probably have the least network of anybody in there, but they treated everybody the same, whether it was the guy that was worth $50 billion or the guy that was like me. So a lot can be learned from Jim Grada, A Life Built for Others. As salespeople, our job is to serve our customers. Number 2, what do high-end customers want? They want somebody who is engaged. That is a new term in American business, engaged. And we all have a great opportunity to be engaged. You know why? Because a lot of people nowadays, they're not engaged. They're on their damn cell phone. Every time you've been to dinner, and half the people are on the cell phone. They're not engaged with the people they're eating dinner with. They're engaged with this stupid device. They want somebody who's engaged, who's interested in them, who's focused on their needs. Customers want convenience. They want in and out. They don't want it to be hard. If it's hard, they're going somewhere else. We learned that in the furniture business. Several years ago, I got real smart, decided we're going to, at 8 o'clock at night, no more deliveries due the next day. And the business went to hell in the handbasket. I finally woke up and realized the customers are coming to us for convenience. They want to buy it and they want to get it. That's our competitive advantage. That's our core competency, taking care of these customers. They want easy. The customers want you to be interested in them, not interesting. They want you to be interested, not interesting. They want you to care about their son, their daughter, their job, their career, their home. They don't want to hear about yours. They want to talk about them. They want you to be interested, not interesting. Another amazing thing is a great book by Jeffrey Schwartz called The Complexity of Choice. The Complexity of Choice. That's Steve Jobs' singular genius. They only had one phone. You go to somebody else's phone store, Nokia or whoever, they got 100 phones, and your eyes roll back in your head. Isn't that the beauty of Amazon? You go there, they know what type of books you like. You like history, you like romance, you like religious, you like whatever, architectural books, and that's all they show you. They don't bore you with something. We have learned in that furniture store, the customer walks in, we don't know who Mr. Smith is or who Miss Smith is, and we don't know their taste. We better find out their taste real quick, because we show her 4 things she doesn't like. She don't like the whole store, she walks out. You got to show them what's relevant to them. And obviously, we have a Salesforce tool, which is magnificent, and you can put in everything. How many of you hate going to the doctor and having to fill out the same damn form every time you go in there? It's insane. It's insane, and part of that is the HIPAA laws. If you go to X hospital, they can't transfer the stuff to Y hospital. I get that. If you go to X hospital 10 times around, you still got to fill out the same form every time. Find out what they want, show them only what they're interested in. Find out what they want, show them only what they're interested in. Next, this is huge. The customer has a problem, own the problem, own the customer. Own the problem, own the customer. Lose the problem, lose the customer. Oh, I got to transfer you over here. I don't want to transfer. I don't have time for that. They had a big meeting out there today at Gallery Furniture. You got 80 people there, and the customer walks in, and the salesman did what he was supposed to do. We've changed the theory, but it's hard to learn a new habit. He said, I got a service problem. He said, there's a service desk. What he should have done was look him up in the iPad and Salesforce and see what the problem was and taken care of it. They came up to me before they left and said, the worst service we ever got. They said, the little girl in service is great, this guy over here is a jerk. Whether we like it or not, we got to own the problem and own the customer. Acknowledge the customer, know who they are. There were 400 people at Koch Brothers conference. They knew everybody's first name. Of course, everybody had name tags on. But the customer didn't know that. Hi, Jim, how you doing? Hi. You forget the fact you got a name tag on. But it's personal, isn't it? It's personal. The most important word in the language is their name and their spouse's name and their children's name. And these are just all basic things, but that's what these high-end customers want. And there were, it just goes on and on. Follow up with the customers. Follow up. I tell those sales ladies and men that work for me when they send a customer an email, start off with something personal. It was a delight meeting you and your 4 wonderful children. They're a great reflection on you and your husband. You've done a wonderful job of raising them. Do you think they're going to delete that email? If you're not, I want to sell you the couch delete. You got to talk about things that are personal, significant, and unexpected to those customers. You got to do it every day. And you've got to follow up and find some common ground. One of the best things we've ever done at Gallery Furniture was my son taught me into doing it because he didn't know any better, was every customer buys over X amount of furniture, we send them this edible arrangements thing. It costs us about $100 for the product and the delivery, and we get 20 or 30 personalized thank you notes a week from these customers. Such a small thing, but such a big bang for the buck. If the customers are going to buy from you, they got to like you, they got to trust you, they got to believe in you. They got to like you, they got to trust you, they got to believe in you. Think about that election last night. The 74-year-old man, the socialist, gets 50% of the votes. Hillary has a trust problem. A lot of politicians have trust problems, but that's what they're buying, like, trust, and believe. They're buying like, trust, and believe. You got to find some common ground with those customers. There is common ground somewhere. You got to dig till you find it. Tell them about you, not. They don't want to hear about you. They want to talk about them because that's all that matters. Got to have great product knowledge. What did the customer pay you for what you're teaching them or educating them? Know your products so you can upsell the customer. The product knowledge is a dangerous thing. You only use it when you need to use it. Other than that, you got it in your arsenal. And if you need to bring out the heavy artillery, you do. Be 100% attuned to the customer's needs. What we've done, one of the things that Graham Bodie taught us was, so we use iPads out there for everything, and Salesforce is like the Bible. The most important thing we have at Gallery Furniture is not the buildings, it's not the inventory, it's the information in Salesforce. So when Mrs. Jones walks in, she'd been in 2 weeks before, they didn't know where her entire order was, ask the customers, do I have permission to take notes on this device? Otherwise, what do they think? They think that you're sending a note to your loved ones. Think about it. How would they know any better? They've never seen anybody take notes and say what they wanted. They want 3 bathrooms, they want this, they want that. You take notes and remind them several times during the interview, I'm taking notes because I want to be able to serve you better. Know your products so you can upsell the customers. And another one, I did an interview. This is a great story for your realtors. I was asked by the Montgomery County Tea Party back in April to interview one Donald Trump. And I said, I don't know anything about Donald Trump, and I don't want to interview Donald Trump. And the woman kept asking me, got to interview him, got to interview him. And I finally said, okay, I'll do this favor to you. I said, so I went and researched Donald Trump, and I found that he had not one, not two, but 12 New York Times bestsellers, not bad, including the best-selling business book of all time, The Art of the Deal. And I knew that he had that television show I never watched it called The Apprentice. I knew he was the best golf course developer in the world and the best high-end real estate developer in the world, invented condominiums for high-end apartments in New York. And so I did all this research on Donald Trump. So we had this little pregame reception for him. He paid his own way down there, flew down his own airplane, and all this stuff. He shows up, and he walks in, and he's got 4 or 5 people with him. He had no cell phone, I noticed that immediately. He had no beeper. He was totally in the present. He walked in and he said to me, what the hell am I here for? So I told him what he was here for. He said, I got it. He said, listen, I got an hour and a half of good energy. After that, I'm done. That's pretty good, know they said. He was totally attuned and in the present. He wasn't checking his watch. He wasn't checking his cell phone. He wasn't doing this. He was totally attuned to everybody in there, and they could tell that, like his politics or not, the guys that helped him develop. And he looked around that country club. He said, why are all the roads to this high-end country club torn up? I said, I don't know. He said, well, I'm looking at this clubhouse. That's wrong with it, and this wrong with it, and this wrong with it, and that's wrong with it. And he looked out there and he knew who designed the golf courses. He said, this place is having money problems, isn't it? And I said, yeah, it is. He says, you want me to buy it? And I said, well, that's up to you. But it was amazing how attuned the guy was. Give the customer your undivided attention. Turn the cell phone off. What's more annoying when you're in the middle of something, somebody answers your cell phone? Give them their undivided attention. So, by the way, Donald Trump is a contrarian. He may or may not do well in politics, but I know this. That television show he had, The Apprentice, they told him never do a business show in primetime TV, so I'm going to do it anyway. They paid him $3 million a week for that television show. He did a licensing thing with Serta mattresses. They picked 20 celebrities to do a licensing thing. They're going to pick the top 2 at the end of the year. He was the only one they picked. He was making $7 million a year from Serta mattresses for just a licensing thing. Totally attuned the whole time he was there, and then the guy calls me back 3 or 4 times after that. Very impressive follow-up. Teach the customer something they would be proud to know, and they can defend their purchase when their know-it-all brother-in-law says he could have got it cheaper. I could have got you a better deal. You've been through that one, right? You can always find something cheaper. You can't find something better. Arm them with some things where they're proud of their purchase. That's why we sell made in America furniture. We want a customer to be proud of their purchase. And they will get some resistance. I could have got it for you so-and-so cheaper. Yep, you could have bought that particle board furniture from the Orient. It's made by slave labor. And breed those Carthaginians. One of the guys that works for us in Vietnam, he told me about the factories over there where the 5-year-old worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, as we chased the slave labor around the world trying to find the lowest price. Nothing's changed. Got to give them something to be proud of about the purchase. Show the best product to the customers. Set up price ceiling. Show the best product to the customers. High-end customers want to see the best. Show the best product to the customers. Eye contact. Seems like elementary. It is, but very few people do it. Use their name. The most important word in the language is their name. My wife and I own the West Side Tennis Club. We did a thing with George and Barbara Bush and Bill Clinton called the Tsunami Fund, and we raised $15 million for the victims of that tsunami many years ago. So we had a final thing in one weekday in May at Westside Tennis Club, thanking all the donors, and we had the tennis stadium was packed with people. It was very hot today, about 95 degrees. And the Bushes got there early, as they always do. They're so gracious. And Bill Clinton had a habit of always being late. And so they were afraid he was going to be late, and had all these high-dollar donors in this meeting room waiting for him to show up, and he was 45 minutes late. And it was not good. So my wife was all concerned because these people were, some of them get as much as $300,000 and they were delayed. So my wife was ready to really hate on Bill Clinton. So the Secret Service shows up, and they went to the exact wrong place for him to come in. They brought him in right between the dumpsters. Great entrance. He walks up. He knew, "Hey, Linda, how you doing?" He says, "I understand this is the only tennis club in the world with all 4 Grand Slam tennis servers." She said, "Yeah, it is." He said, "Linda, you've done such a great job here." She said, he said, "Do you know my wife Hillary played tennis at Yale? She loves to play tennis." And he went on, and she just melted, you know. Use the customer's name all the time. It's a magic word. Use their name. Respect their time and get out of the way and let them buy it. Respect their time. These people that are wealthy have their time is the most valuable asset they have. Respect their time. That thing out there in Palm Beach is just like it. Bang, 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 bang. No wasted effort. They respected the time of all those people. Once again, make their experience with you, whether they buy or not, the best part of the day. And that's a hard bar to reach, isn't it? Make their experience with you, whether they buy or not, the best part of the day. What is your comparative advantage? If you don't have one, that's okay. Get one. People want high tech, and they also want high touch. They don't care how much you know, they want to know how much you care. Buying a new home, once again, is stressful. Our job is to take the stress out of it. To hold their hand through the process, let them know everything's going to be all right. No matter how many hoops and governmental things they have to sign to get signed up. They want a happy salesperson. They want somebody who's glad to be there. They want somebody that wakes up in the morning dreaming about selling the home and goes to bed at night dreaming about selling the home and calls them back 6 months later and says, "Hi, how's that home going? Anything I can do for you?" That's how you build the business. There's a great book by this guy named Joe Girard, the world's greatest car salesman, back in Detroit in the 1980s. Never took a customer. Never took one customer walked in the door. He had referrals coming in all day long because he sent out thousands of thank you notes. President Bush 41. Every day of his adult life, this amazing man, every day of his adult life, first hour and a half of his day, he wrote thank you notes to people who did him a favor the day before. Estimated written 60,000 thank you notes. He sent me 20 of them. And if the most powerful man in the world can do it and go after those, building those relationships, why can't we as professional salespeople do it? We make our living doing that. That's part of our comparative advantage. So that's what I think high-end customers want. They want
That was easy.
easy. Best ad campaign ever run. And they had to get a new ad agency and they threw it out, of course. If it works, stick with it. Just remember, it's all about those customers. Because at the end of the day, that's all they care about. I have a child, her name is Elizabeth. When she was 13 years old, she was diagnosed with severe mental illness, and we just didn't know what we were going to do because it took over her whole life. And my wife Linda moved upstairs with her and slept with Liz every night trying to comfort her, blood curdling as she screamed every night, "God, what did I do to deserve this? I wish I was dead." She begged her mother and her beloved sister to kill her every night. It was hell on her. Because when one family member has a mental illness, everybody has a mental illness. And so we searched the world, we finally found this place called Vinegar Clinic in Fiki, Kansas. Took her up there and left her there, horrific leaving her there, but left her there for 6 weeks. And here's this little girl, 13 years old, scared, crying, screaming. It took her 8 hours to take a shower, by the way. And another little girl went over and put her hand on Liz's hand and said, you know, I know this is hard on you. She said, but the worst day of my life was getting here. She said, the worst day of my life will be when I have to leave here in 3 or 4 weeks because they have taught me how to fight. They taught me how to overcome. All of us in sales have things we don't like to do. We gotta learn to love what we hate. If you don't like to prospect, you gotta learn how to prospect. If you don't like to follow up, you gotta learn how to follow up. If you're not really good at people's skills, you gotta find people really good at people's skills and learn how to do what they do. So, fast forward many years later, Elizabeth will always have that mental illness. She fights it every day. But thanks to the good Lord and the doctors and nurses and people at Vinegar Clinic, she got better. And now this child, who they said would never graduate high school, has a PhD in social work at the University of Houston, and she teaches full-time at Baylor University. So, several years ago, my wife and I adopted this child named Regina. Regina's aunt was my children's housekeeper when they were growing up, and she saw Regina's parents go to jail, so the housekeeper took over Regina, and the housekeeper went off the deep end. We got Regina through CPS. So Regina was one of those children who, for 2 years of her life, all they fed her was ketchup. She was expelled out of the first grade twice. Her little brain never fully formed, and she'll never be able to tell time. She'll never be able to make change for a quarter. So that's what we're dealing with. So she'd been kicked out of several schools, and we made Vinegar at that time. We moved to Houston, had a teenage unit. So we made an appointment to put Regina in Vinegar, which is in Houston. And my wife and I had donated like $3 million to Vinegar over the years because they'd done such a great job with Liz. So taking Regina to Vinegar was just as stressful as taking Liz, probably worse, because she didn't want to go there at all. And my wife had done all the paperwork, made all the reservations, done this and that. Paid $25,000 a week for the insurance won't cover it. Put it in there for several weeks. So the entire family stressed out. We go down and check this child in. They knew who we were. Had to been 3 hours filling out more forms. I will never forget that. How hard is it to look and see who your customers are? How hard is it to be aware that, you know, these people are stressed out, and how can I make it easy for them? So fast forward, Regina's doing better now. But it's about caring for your customers. It's about truly giving a damn about these customers. Because it ain't how much you know, it is how much you care. And I'll tell one last quick story about this saint that I know. And another way to deal with high-end customers is find yourself some role models and try to get better all the time. My role model is Winston Churchill. There's a glorious book called The Last Line. It's about 3,000 pages about this amazing man who saved Western civilization. And if you get depressed, start reading that. It'll change your opinion real quick. So anyway, Regina, after we got her, she got kicked out of 3 or 4 more schools. She had problems. She was a thief. She stole stuff all the time because her parents had taught her to do that. She couldn't love, she couldn't share, she couldn't care because nobody ever taught her empathy or sharing. So we sent her to a place called Quincy School in Illinois, and Methodist home for children with problems with her. And they did a great job with her. After about 8 months, we told her she got better, she'd come home. She came back home. And we were trying to find a place for her to go to school. I'd been working with this woman named Yvonne Strait out at the Brookwood Center in Brookshire, Texas, which is a home for adults with severe brain disabilities. a lot of people, they have autism or they have Down syndrome or whatever, and it was started because Yvonne's child, when she was 6 years old, was diagnosed with Down syndrome. Back then, the age expectancy of somebody with Down syndrome was 12 years old, and so Yvonne said, I'm not putting my child in a state home, and she started the school for her at Briarwood School, and when the child aged out of Briarwood, she started Brookwood. Brookwood is a home for adults with learning disabilities. Some of them may have been a senior executive and gotten an automobile or car accident and their brains damaged, but everybody at Brookwood, even the paraplegics, quadriplegics, have a full-time job. Everybody. Everybody. Because Yvonne believes that work is life's greatest therapy, and we get our joy and our self-worth and self-esteem by work, and that's where our friends are, and that's how we live about ourselves. Everybody, Brookwood works. And she had this guy, this big-time executive who got in a car accident, damaged his brain. He was in there. Brookwood, he wouldn't get with the program of doing the menial tasks they do to make things that they sell, but it's his work. He wouldn't get the program, and finally got the program. And Yvonne was in her office one day, and the guy came running up, and he had a piece of paper in his hand. He waving this piece of paper, and waving this piece of paper, said, Miss Straight, Miss Straight, Miss Straight, look what I got, look what I got. She looked up and said, what'd you get? He said, I got a paycheck, Miss Straight, I got a paycheck. He said, I'm a real person now. Whoa. You know, we're all real people, and those are real customers we're dealing with every day. And it's their lives that they have entrusted us with. And they deserve our best every day. So I asked Yvonne to try to get Regina into Briarwood School. She said, I'm no longer the chairman of the school, I'm the chairman emeritus, but I'll at least get you an interview. So she got Regina an interview, and Regina went up there with Linda, my wife, to do the interview. And Regina at that time was about 12 years old. And she went into the lobby of the school. She didn't want to go to the school, so she fell on the floor and kicked a hissy fit for an hour and a half, screaming and kicking and flailing like a 4-year-old, and Linda took her home. He was devastated. They called the next day and they said, Regina's in the school. I said, great, must have been her interviewing skills. And she's not out of the woods yet, but you know, those people at Briarwood, they care, and she's come a long way. She's not out of the woods, but she's come a long way. So I asked Yvonne, I said, Yvonne, I said, Regina had to be the toughest child ever at Briarwood. She said, oh no, that's not true, not by a long shot. I said, well, who is? She said it had to be this boy named Tracy. She said, when I first started the school many years ago, we rented 2 classrooms in a church, and that was where the school was. She said, Tracy's one of the boys in the school, and she said, I thought about kicking him out of the school 4 or 5 times. He was so disruptive and trying to tear everything up and bothering the other students, bothering the teachers, and she said, I didn't have the guts to kick him out. She said, one day somehow Tracy climbed on top of the church and was up there on the top of the church, threatening Yvonne he was going to jump off the top of the church and kill himself. And Yvonne's down there on the ground screaming, Tracy, you get down here right now. And this standoff went on for about half an hour. He's taunting her, and finally he came down off of the roof and went over to this tree and grabbed a tree limb off the tree. Went over to where Yvonne was and took that tree limb and stuck it in her leg. Blood starts shooting out of her leg, and he's laying on the ground laughing, just rolling around and thinks it's funny. And Yvonne said, Tracy, no matter what you do, I will never kick you out of the school. She said, I'm going to straighten you out. So sure enough, she did straighten him out. 2 or 3 years later, he was good enough. He went to the public high school in Vaughn. Hadn't seen him since. Several years ago, she was back at Briarwood visiting her friends there in the school, and this good-looking guy came running down the hallway saying, hey, Miss Straight, Miss Straight, Miss Straight, do you remember me? Do you remember me? She says, no, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. He said, oh, come on, Miss Straight, you got to remember me. I was your favorite student. She said, no, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. She said, what's your name? He said, Miss Straight, Miss Straight, Miss Straight, it's me, Tracy. She said she thought to herself, oh my goodness, I'm surprised you're not dead or in penitentiary 1. She said, Tracy, you look great. He said, thank you. She said, Tracy, where do you live? He said, Mr. Ray, I live in Los Angeles. Devon thought that's not very good in the land of fruits and nuts.